I told myself I'm going to get on the carnivore diet. And the only reason I've even heard of the carnivore diet, the only reason anyone's ever heard of the carnivore diet is because Joe Rogan talked about it. And Joe Rogan's like, yeah, I lost 12 pounds. And I ate nothing but meat for 30 days. He might have done it for 2 months. I don't know how long he did it for. And I want to be like that. And then so I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on the carnivore diet. And it's all like guys with no shirts on. And they look like dads. You know what I mean? Like it's that dad strength. I don't mean a dad bod. I mean that dad strength. The kind of body dads get when the last one graduates high school and then they start taking like testosterone and start getting like a weight set in the garage. Maybe one of the kids isn't going to college, so that kid's college money is going into like a garage gym, you know? A bunch of supplements, some of them from Mexico, under the table, whatever. Maybe there's a syringe involved. I'm not saying anything. But that kind of like dad bod that's like muscular, where it's like everything's got a vein on it, you know? I just kept watching videos like that. I'm like, I want to look like that. Is that all I got to do? Just eat meat for a little while? I love meat. I love all meats. Steak, fish, chicken, lamb, pork, all of it. So I went to the grocery store, I bought a bunch of meat, and I made it about 12 hours. I quit the first day. I did it. In the morning, I made steak and eggs, and then I think after that I had some chicken, and then I was sitting here, right here on this couch. My best friend Dane, who's my next door neighbor, was sitting next to me. We're watching hockey. And he was snacking on something, and he was drinking a White Claw. And you're not allowed to have alcohol during COVID. Or COVID during God. Imagine if you couldn't have alcohol during COVID. There'd be a riot in the streets, a lot more than we're seeing now. But you can't have alcohol on the carnivore diet because that's sugar, and there's no sugar in this thing. And so I'm watching him just pounding claws. We're watching hockey. And then after the second period of hockey, I turned to him. I'm like, screw this. And I went and got a protein bar, which isn't even much of a... It's not even that much of an FU to the carnivore diet because it's a protein bar. But it's still something you're not allowed to have because there's carbs in it and sugar and delicious chocolate. And I have no willpower. That's what it was. I didn't make a complete grocery trip to be on the carnivore diet. Does that make sense? Like, I went to the grocery store, I bought a bunch of meat, but I still bought a bunch of fruits and vegetables and protein bars, and I bought a thing of hummus and chips in case my friend comes over, when my girlfriend comes over, because she doesn't want to just eat meat with me. She wants something else, so I bought some other stuff so she can have something to eat when she comes over. But that just made the carnivore diet disheartening. That made it horrible because I'm over there making a steak, which is great. I love steak, but I'm like grabbing it out of a refrigerator that's full of like spinach and arugula and red onion and jalapenos and tomatoes and avocado, like a delicious side salad that would go perfectly with this steak that I'm making over here. And I gotta ignore all these delicious fresh flavors and just eat a thing of steak with a pat of butter on it, which was still great. I'm not saying the taste was bad, but there was a bunch of stuff in my fridge I had to ignore that would have made it 10 times better. I think that's the mistake I made. So if you're out there, and this is one of the videos that came up, you know, because you were out there like, I want to do the carnivore diet. Don't let this talk you out of it. Just grocery shop correctly and don't buy the other stuff that you're not allowed to eat because you will end up eating it. I mean, unless you have this thing called willpower. Unless you have this magical thing in your body called willpower, which I have none of. If I have to go on a diet, that means none of that food or drink or whatever I have to stay away from is allowed on the premises. Because zero. You know, on a video game, when like one of the players is injured or tired or worn out and his life meter is super low, that's my willpower at all times. At all times. You could tell me, hey man, no chocolate cake. And I'd be like, all right, there's no chocolate cake in my house. But then you drop a chocolate cake in my house. By the time you turn around, I've passed out because of a diabetic coma and I look like there's like I just Like I melted a Hershey bar all over my face. It's everywhere. Hands, fingers. Looks like I was sexually assaulted by chocolate. That's what it would look like. Just covered in it. Fudge, icing, candles, hanging out of my nose. All into chocolate. Zero willpower. But once again, at least I'm honest about it. Some people try to, fluff up their situation and go, oh yeah, I could totally do that. I'm honest with you. I'll look you right in the eyes and go, yeah, I'll try, but I know I can't. And then hopefully you look at me and go, that's the spirit. So that was my participation in the carnivore diet.